All right, so you're a landlord. You've just spent some money on your property. Now comes the big question from the IRS. And your answer? Well, it could affect your finances for the next 27 years. Let's get right into it.
This right here is the heart of the matter. Was that new water heater a simple repair, or was it a capital improvement? You might think it's just words, but trust me, it's a huge financial decision. And if you get it wrong, you could be leaving a ton of money on the table. And here's why it's such a big deal. See, a repair, like, say, fixing a leaky pipe, is an expense you can deduct 100% from your rental income in the same year you pay for it. Boom, done. But an improvement, like replacing the entire roof, that has to be capitalized.
So, what in the world does capitalize actually mean? Well, the IRS says that any cost that improves, restores, or adapts your property has to get added to its value. You can't just deduct it all at once. Instead, you have to recover that cost really slowly, over time, through something called depreciation.
And just how much time are we talking about? For residential rental property, the IRS has decided its useful life is a whopping 27.5 years. Let that sink in. That means a $10,000 improvement gives you a deduction of only about $363 a year. That's a long time to wait to get your money back. Oh, but it gets better. When you finally sell the property, the IRS wants to recapture all that depreciation you claimed. The part of your profit that came from those deductions, it doesn't get the nice low capital gains tax rate. No, it gets hit with a special tax rate of up to 25%. That can be a nasty surprise at closing time.
So at this point, you're probably thinking, this is ridiculously complicated just for trying to maintain my property. And you know what? You're absolutely right. This gray area between a repair and an improvement has caused endless headaches and disputes for landlords.
But thankfully, there is a better way. The IRS actually recognized how much of a pain this is, so they created several safe harbors. Think of them as official IRS-approved shortcuts, an express lane that lets you bypass all that complex analysis and deduct certain expenses right away. Let's break down the three most important ones for you.
First up, we have the de minimis safe harbor. This is probably the most common and widely used one of the bunch. It's really designed for all those small dollar purchases you make throughout the year.
The whole point here is just administrative convenience. Instead of agonizing over whether a new microwave oven is technically a repair or an improvement, this safe harbor gives you a clear, simple dollar amount. If the cost is under that magic number, you just deduct it and move on with your life.
And for most of us landlords who don't have a big, fancy, audited financial statement, that magic number is $2,500. Now, this applies on a per-item or per-invoice basis. This is a huge help, right? It lets you immediately write off things like appliances, new flooring, or light fixtures, as long as each item on that invoice is $2,500 or less. Now, you can't just decide to use this at the last minute. It's an annual election, which means there are a few simple but really crucial steps. You've got to have a consistent accounting policy in place. You must attach a formal statement to your tax return, and you have to apply it to all of your qualifying expenses for that year. No cherry picking allowed.
Okay, now for our second safe harbor. This is where things get really interesting for a lot of you. It's arguably the most powerful tool in the shed, the safe harbor for small taxpayers. For landlords who qualify, this one is a true game changer.
The catch? The rules here are strict, and you have to meet every single one. Most small landlords will have no problem with the gross receipts test. The real hurdles are making sure the building's original cost, its basis, is under $1 million, and that your total annual spending on everything, both repairs and improvements, stays under a specific cap. So for example, if your property's basis is $300,000, your spending limit for the year would be $6,000.
But if you meet those criteria, the payoff is incredible. You no longer have to worry about what's a repair and what's an improvement. You just deduct everything you spent on the property that year right up to your limit without having to capitalize a single penny. It just completely simplifies the entire process.
The third option is a little more specialized, but it's a fantastic tool for smart, long-term property management. This is the routine maintenance safe harbor. It's designed for all that predictable, recurring work you do just to keep your property in good shape.
So the key test here is all about expectations. When you first put the property into service, did you reasonably expect to have to do this maintenance more than once every 10 years? We're talking about things like annual HVAC servicing, regular pest control, or cleaning the gutters. The big limitation, though, is that this safe harbor is only for maintenance. It can't be used to deduct costs that are actually betterments or restorations.
So we've covered 3 pretty powerful tools, but how do they all work together? How do you turn these rules into a real strategy? Let's put together a simple playbook.
Here's how you can think about it. The de minimis safe harbor is your day-to-day tool for all those small purchases under $2,500. The small taxpayer safe harbor is your all-in-one super deduction if you qualify and your annual expenses are pretty modest. And the routine maintenance safe harbor is your go-to for predictable, recurring upkeep. It's also important to notice that the first 2 require an annual election statement with your tax return, but the third one is something you adopt as a method of accounting.
So, what are your takeaways, your action items? First, these elections are not automatic. You have to actively file that statement every single year. Second, documentation is everything. Keep detailed, itemized invoices for everything. Third, be so careful with that small taxpayer limit. If you go $1 over, you lose the safe harbor for all of that year's expenses. And finally, look, these rules can get tricky. Consulting a tax pro is a really smart investment.
And that really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself. Are you just passively collecting rent, or are you actively managing your investment's tax strategy? Because using these safe harbors correctly is about taking control of your tax situation to improve your cash flow, not decades from now, but this year.